I thank you for taking valuable time out of your day to watch Phil's big adventure. And I'd like to welcome everyone named Phil and everyone who's not named Phil. I'm using this medium because it's kind of a long story. It's kind of boring. I hope you hang the whole time. But rather than writing an email, it would take forever. This is more painless for me, and I hope that you find it at least worth your time. Okay, so moving right along. A few days ago, a week ago, whenever, a few days ago, I went for a ride with my neighbor on my mountain bike in Tilden and got the first flat tire I've had on my mountain bike in 9 years. And he helped me fix it. It was very, very difficult getting the tire off the rim. And then we found, he just looked and could see the hole, which there was a big hole in the tire and a big hole in the tube, and he put a pre-sticky patch on it. Case. Cool guy. Very good guy. Very athletic. We put it back together, and I used my CO2 device to push the bead back on the rim, and then continued riding even though there wasn't very much pressure in the rear tire. Okay, so in the meantime, now you can go to Treasure Island and ride back up McCalla Road, which is really, really steep. And I wanted to get really low gear so I could ride my road bike up there. And so I thought I would ride my mountain bike, which has really low gears, over there and see what it was like riding up McCalla. You know, I kind of checked stuff out. Like I checked out my CO2 thing. I have two tubes. I have the tube in there, which is repaired with one patch on it. And then I have another tube that had a different stem on it, okay? And I wanted to be sure that the larger Schrader stem could be used with the CO2. So I tested it with the CO2. It worked with the CO2. So I put the tube back in my backpack and I was riding off for my big adventure. See if I could ride up McCalla Road straight with my mountain bike. So I'm riding along, and I get about a third of the way up the Bay Bridge, and I hear psss. And I figured that the patch that we put on a few days ago had failed. So I got off the bike, wheeled it back. It did have a flat tire, and there was a man there waiting for his family to come up, an older guy, maybe over 60, and asked me if I was okay. I said, yeah, you know, I am. And so I turned my bike over, got the wheel off, and I couldn't get this type of tire remover thing. This is too thick. I couldn't get it to work. I didn't have a thin metal one like this one with me, which is thinner and easier to get in there. So I'm trying. And the guy and his family are still over here, right? And I gave up. Okay, I've given up. Let's give up number one. I can't get this tool under the bead of the tire. So I took the tire over to the man and his approximately 35-year-old son and wife, who was his age, over 60, and explained I couldn't do it. So, to make a long story short, after giving up again with him, you know, he got it under there, but we couldn't get any more released. Again, I said, well, I think I'll just walk home, which would have been like a couple miles, with my riding shoes on and the cleats and a flat tire. And so he kind of wanted to keep going. So we just kept going and struggling. And after, I don't know, 8 to 10 minutes, we got the bead off the rim. So I thanked them, and they rode off. And I said, you know, if I'm here when you come back, of course you can help me, but thank you. Okay, so then I went to my backpack, pulled out the new tube, the new tube to replace the damaged tube in case this happened. Undid the tube, put a little bit of air in it with the CO2. Everything seemed to be working well. Put it all around the tire and started to put the stem of the Schrader valve through the rim, and the stem of the Schrader valve was too big to fit through the hole in the rim. So I couldn't use the tube that I brought in case of a flat. So this was give up number 2. Then I went to see if I had any patches. I took the tube out and I saw 2 new holes in it. There were 2 holes in it. One right at the top where it would have been right against the rim, and another one about an inch from the original hole from a week ago. And that patch was still intact. That patch held. But there were 2 new relatively large holes that had to be patched. So I went to look to get patch stuff, and I didn't have any. So I looked in here, in this pouch, no patch stuff. I looked in this pouch, no patch stuff, only a chain tool, okay? Then I looked over in this little pouch, and I found a $10 bill in a baggie. And I looked over here in this pouch and found a chain link, a link, nothing else. Okay, so I repeated that process about 5 times. I looked in this pouch, no patches, no patches, no patches, no patches. I was waiting for the family to return. Maybe they had patches, or maybe somebody else would have patches. So I just sat there for, I don't know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, seeing if I could find some patches. And then I thought, well, I'll try again. So I went over here, and then I went below this thing, way down here, and I found, believe it or not, these patches. They have stick-em on them. You just stick them on, right? I go, how many are there? I need 2. I opened the thing up. It was in this little box, and there were 2 patches in there with some sandpaper that I used to rough up the tube. So I put the patches on. I roughed up the tube, put the patches on. Then I had to get the tire back on somehow. It was easier to put back on than to get it off. And use the CO2 to inflate it, which inflated it well enough, and it held. It held. It was pretty soft, but all I wanted to do at that point was ride home. And to make a long story short with a happy ending, I was able to ride the bike home. I didn't have to walk 2 miles in bicycle shoes with my bicycle. Thank you. Talk to you later. Bye.